Welcome to Course Selection 2018-19. This is Part 1, General Information Session. Today will be the beginning of the course selection process for the 2018-19 school year. You are in homeroom today in order to receive the necessary materials for course selection, as well as to listen to instructions for how to complete this process. Today's presentation consists of two parts. Part 1 is a general presentation for all grade levels. Part 2 is a grade level specific presentation that will address course options. After listening to the general presentation that contains very important information, please select the appropriate grade level presentation in order to hear instructions for completing your course selection card. Today, your homeroom teacher will give you the following materials: a course selection card, a transcript of your grades, an AP course recommendation form, an honors course agreement for mathematics, a graduation requirements chart, and a career and technical education career pathways chart. Please do not remove any part of the papers that have been stapled to your course selection card. In particular, the transcript has to remain stapled to the card so that counselors can access it during your one-on-one meeting. High school planning guides will only be given to rising 10th graders, but the planning guides are available online through a link on Butler's website. The planning guides can be used to look up course descriptions and prerequisites for courses, as well as flowcharts to aid in the sequencing of courses. Please note that Butler does not offer every course listed in the planning guide. Students can only choose courses listed on their specific course selection card. At this time, please refer to the graduation requirements chart that you have been given so that you can follow along as I review graduation requirements. It is important to review graduation requirements as you select your courses to ensure that you register for the necessary courses. You can see towards the middle of your chart that a total of 24 credits are required for graduation. The chart breaks down those 24 credits by the categories you see listed. Everyone needs 4 English courses and should progress in the order of English 1, English 2, English 3, and English 4. Everyone needs 4 math credits, but the exact math courses may differ depending upon level of ability. The usual progression would be Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and a 4th math such as AFM or Pre-Calculus. There are alternate courses available as needed. Everyone needs 3 science credits, which includes an Earth Environmental Science course, Biology, and a Physical Science. The Earth Environmental Science requirement can be fulfilled by taking the Earth Environmental Science course or AP Environmental Science. The Physical Science requirement can be fulfilled by taking Chemistry, Physics, or Physical Science. Everyone needs 4 Social Studies courses, which are World History, Civics and Economics, American History 1, and American History 2. Students may choose to replace American History 1 and 2 with AP United States History, but if this option is chosen, you must also complete an elective Social Studies course from an approved list. Everyone must pass the Health and PE course. This does not include elective PEs such as strength training or lifetime sports and fitness. Everyone must complete 8 elective courses, with 2 being selected from amongst the fine arts, world languages, or career and technical education areas. At this time, we will review high school promotion standards in order to learn how many credits are needed to be promoted from one grade level to the next. Students must earn a total of any 6 credits to be promoted from 9th to 10th grade. Students must have a cumulative total of 12 credits at the end of 10th grade to be promoted to the 11th grade. Those 12 credits must include English 1 and 2 and Math 1. Students must have earned a cumulative total of 18 credits at the end of the 11th grade to be promoted to 12th grade. Please note that while credits earned in middle school count towards your graduation total, they do not count for promotion purposes. Course Rigor. We will now switch gears a bit to discuss Rigor. We would love for all students to challenge themselves by taking a level of rigor that is appropriate for them individually. Taking honors or advanced placement, further referred to as AP, level courses should be carefully considered as they require a high level of commitment. They both move at a much faster pace and require more work. Work ethic is a huge part of being successful in both of these levels. AP courses are true college level courses. They require a higher level of maturity as often class discussions are seminar style as they are in college. Large amounts of reading are required outside of class, as well as a great deal of writing, which can mean hours of homework each night. Students are expected to take the College Board's AP exams at the end of each AP course. The exam scores can determine eligibility for college credit. Some students received letters recently advising them of their potential ability in specific AP courses. The data in these letters was gathered from PSAT results and is intended to encourage students to consider if AP courses are a good academic fit for them personally. I'd like to take this opportunity to advertise an opportunity that is available to you tomorrow night regarding advanced placement AP courses. Please note that in addition to an open house for rising ninth graders that is scheduled for tomorrow night, there will also be an information session for students who are considering taking AP courses next year. This program is intended for any students and their parents who are considering taking AP courses but would like more information before making the commitment. At this session, you will have the opportunity to learn about the expectations in AP courses, predictors of success, and the expected workload and time commitment for these courses. You will have the opportunity to speak with teachers about specific course content. The program starts promptly at 6 p.m. in the Media Center. Please note that there are a few new requirements for you to be able to sign up for honors math courses and any AP courses. It will be mandatory for you to complete the honors math agreement and/or AP course recommendations form in order to register for either of these types of courses. These forms are already attached to your course selection cards and should not be removed. If you turn in your course selection card and do not have the required teacher and parent signatures on these forms, you will not be permitted to register for these courses. Please read these agreements entirely before making your selections. Selecting challenging courses is a serious commitment that should not be taken lightly. Students should carefully consider levels in each subject area. You can select higher levels in subjects in which you have stronger ability and interest, while maybe selecting standard levels in subjects in which you typically struggle. If you've had to attend summer school or credit recovery for a particular subject, that may not be the subject to choose for honors or AP levels. If you have earned A's and B's in certain subjects, that may be the area where you could try some higher levels. It is not advised to jump from a standard level one year to an AP level the next without trying an honors level first. Math is an area to be careful when switching levels. If you took standard level Math 1 and 2, it is not advised to switch to honors level for Math 3 as you have missed specific course content. However, if a math teacher feels strongly and recommends this particular switch, it could be permitted as long as you're able to learn the missed material prior to taking the course. University minimum admissions requirements. Minimum admissions requirements for four-year universities may require some courses that are not required to graduate from high school. Higher maths and world languages are two such areas. Advanced functions and modeling or pre-calculus are not necessarily specific high school graduation requirements for every student, but they are required for admission to a four-year university. Students who are four-year college bound must complete a math beyond Math 3. It must be a math that requires Math 3 as a prerequisite. Although world languages are not specifically required for high school graduation, most four-year universities require a minimum of 2 years of the same world language to be completed in high school. The more selected the university, the more years of a world language they will expect you to complete. Course rigor is a major part of college admissions. Students that have completed a challenging course load and have been successful in those courses will have a higher likelihood of being accepted. Making C's, D's, and F's can jeopardize chances of acceptance. Please note that a cumulative weighted GPA of 2.5 is required for acceptance at all state universities in North Carolina. Please note that this is a minimum GPA requirement. A competitive GPA is often much higher than a 2.5. Academic merit scholarships require much higher GPAs. World language. Butler offers 2 world languages, Spanish and French. In addition to Spanish and French, we will also offer a new program for heritage native Spanish speakers. It is intended that 90% of language classes will be taught in the target language. Beginning Level 1 Spanish and French courses are intended for students with very limited previous experience in the target language. These courses are not recommended for any students who speak Spanish or French as their first language. Spanish 2 and French 2 courses follow successful completion of Level 1 language courses and are intended for students that have a solid command of the language learned in Level 1. Level 2 courses are not recommended for any students who speak Spanish or French as their first language. Spanish 3 and French 3 courses are intended for students who have a solid command of the material learned in Levels 1 and 2 and are also recommended for any student who does speak Spanish or French as a first language, but does not have a solid command of reading and writing in the language. Level 4 of Spanish and French is recommended for students who have successfully completed previous levels or for whom Spanish or French is a first language, and has a competent command of writing and reading the language. Level 5 AP Spanish or French is intended for students that have a solid foundation from previous levels. It is also recommended for students for which Spanish or French is their first language and have an advanced command of writing and reading the language since the course is taught on a college level. The Spanish for Native Speakers courses are intended for all students in which Spanish is the first language. Native speakers of Spanish should register for these courses. Please see a Spanish teacher for questions and clarification. These classes are specifically designed for native speakers and will be taught differently than a class that is designed for English speakers. The focus is less on grammar and more on actually using the language. You will get to focus on conversation, culture, geography, history, and how to use Spanish properly. You will also receive honors credit after the second level of Spanish for native speakers. Students will be able to access Spanish 4 and AP Spanish 5 after successful completion of Spanish for native speakers 1 and 2. NCAA Clearinghouse. If you're an athlete that intends to play sports at the Division I or II college level, you need to be sure to register with NCAA at least by junior year at ncaa.org. You also need to be aware of the types of courses the NCAA will use to determine your eligibility to play at the college level. You should examine these course requirements prior to completing your course selections to make sure you have enough of the specific courses that are required. Their requirements are different than Butler's graduation requirements. Also be aware that the NCAA does not recognize SREB Math Ready as an acceptable fourth math credit. Also, please be aware that the NCAA will not accept courses completed through credit recovery. This means courses that are failed must be retaken as a new course that includes the full course content. Credit recovery summer school courses will not be accepted. If students intend to attend summer school for a failed course, they must receive prior approval from their school counselor on the appropriate form that certifies that a course will be new coursework and will have the appropriate number of hours to fulfill requirements for an entire course, not the shortened version used in credit recovery. CMS does not offer new coursework for underclassmen. Some private schools offer new coursework. At this time, homeroom teachers, please select the next presentation that is appropriate for your grade level homeroom. 9th grade homerooms, you should select the presentation for rising 10th graders. 10th grade homeroom teachers, you should select the presentation for rising 11th graders. And 11th grade teachers, you should select the presentation for rising 12th graders.